sexy role?
A monthly subscription anime website is created by true anime fans.
And that's your secret?
My body's a temple. And if you are what you watch, then I'll only consume the best 25,000 hours of premium, ad-free, up-to-date content with full device access that there is.
Start your free trial today.
I mean, I know cops, and I know that they get on. They like the idea.
They never turn them. Never.
I guess it might not turn them in, but never. But cops don't spend their time blatantly placing a gun without worrying about that another cop might see them. I mean, that's like
in the videos we've shown they do.
Well, I don't know, I've never in my life seen a video where I've seen a cop place a gun.
We just showed one outside of Detroit. It wasn't a gun. It was drugs. Casually takes it out in front of the other cop, waves it around, and throws it in the guy's car after they mauled him, right? He hears it, takes the taser, throws it next to the dead body. The cops cover for each other. That's a fact. That's a fact. Anyway, now Geraldo's going to come in, and we're going to have much more disagreement with Geraldo than we do amongst each other. So let's go to tape.
Well, I'm extremely glad that they released the dash cam video because it gives context to the event. However horrific and tragic and outrageous the shooting in the back is, it shows that it started as a righteous traffic stop.
There was a light out.
There was a light out. The driver was acting very hinky, very edgy. He got out of the car, was told to get back in the car. Clearly, the officer involved was checking to see whether there were outstanding warrants. The victim knew there was the outstanding warrant for child support. He bolts. The officer runs after him. The taser comes out. There is a struggle.
We don't see.
You don't see, but there is a reliable eyewitness account that there is a struggle after the taser.
Yeah. Well, very hinky. So obviously, it had to be executed from the back. What is he talking about?
When you start with a righteous traffic stop, you're already endowed with that.
Right.
No, and so it's a great point.
No one in the planet suggested it was. No one's arguing. Walter Scott's family's not saying, "I can't believe they pulled him over." That's not. Yeah. That's not what their outrage is.
Yeah, he had not paid child custody, and that's why he ran, because he was afraid they were going to put him in jail. And back in 2008, he'd gone to jail for 6 months for child custody, not paying child custody. These are things that happen in life, right? They're not right, and that's why you go and you serve a warrant, etc. Now, in this case, it happened to be wasn't serving a warrant. It was just a traffic stop. I've been in a lot of traffic stops, and I didn't get executed in them. Like they were righteous traffic stops. I was speeding, right? And so I think a lot of you have been in righteous traffic stops. You hope that even if there's a wild thing you didn't expect, you don't expect to run, right? But if something goes wrong, unexpected, you hope the cop doesn't shoot you in the back on a righteous traffic stop, even if you're acting hinky. So now if you're acting hinky, it's good enough to execute you as you're running away.
Yeah, I mean, again, none of it matters. That's the problem. And then as soon as you start bringing in, and it's a great point, that the idea that it's a righteous traffic stop, you instantly start framing the whole argument completely different. That you're dealing with a good guy and a bad guy, and that therefore everything that happened afterward is in the context of a good guy versus a bad guy. It is irrelevant. All the things that Walter Scott said about who owned the car, that's what that conversation was about, buying the car. I don't know. Maybe if I were a cop, I'd be like, this guy's a pain in the ass, right? No question. Yeah, no question, right? It might make me look harder when I check for the warrants, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. You would have had to run and sweat and get your clothes dirty, and you would have had to tackle him and cuff him and bring him back to your car, and man, that's a huge pain in the ass, and that's what being a police officer is.
And I appreciate from a law enforcement perspective that a traffic stop is a high anxiety moment, right? Many police officers are shot in this exact moment, right? So you always have a defensive posture, right? And that self-protective defensive posture is what we expect from law enforcement, right? What is clear from the video is that, like, we were no longer in a self-defense scenario. And I think the reason we're talking about this today is because we've seen a rash of incidents that indicate that the entire culture of policing errs on the side of self-protection and not on the side necessarily of protecting the public, right? And that's why we've had all of this cornucopia of incidents, right? And that's the real question. How do we put policing into a mindset and a culture where it's not so much about, I might get shot, which I don't want any police officer shot, but we pay them to take greater risks, right? How do they make more risk incumbent on themselves in order to not shoot so many innocent people?
We have a little more from Geraldo, and again, it frames it a little bit, again, suggesting that what happened to the officer is sympathetic because it was such an emotional situation. Here's more from Geraldo.
So up until that point, the cop with his adrenaline pumping, now he's been in a physical tussle. Now, the perpetrator has reached for the taser allegedly. Now it gives you the context of his blood boiling. He has done everything professional, and now he's had this civilian has dared to physically have this altercation with the officer. Put that in the officer's head. Now, I think it saves him from the murder rap.
Even though you see him shooting him in the back dead. I mean,
Elizabeth, that's an excellent point. This is a horrible, horrible shooting, but there was no premeditation. This is manslaughter. Right. I believe that this is manslaughter.
No, but look, first of all, of course there's no premeditation. Nobody said Officer Slager, knew Walter Scott and thought, if I get him with a broken taillight, I'll get to execute him later. But nobody thinks that. Of course there's no premeditation. That doesn't mean that it's not murder. That you're going to have a question as to what degree it is, right?
Maybe it is going to be first-degree manslaughter.
It could easily be first-degree manslaughter, but it doesn't excuse any of it. And why? Why are they trying so hard to excuse the cops' actions? Well, his blood was boiling. No, but as Ben was pointing out, that we pay the cops to control themselves when their blood is boiling. They get into intense situations, as Kaj pointed out, and that's when we need them to be calm and not shoot people in the back 5 times. Your blood is boiling is not a defense. It's just not. And that goes to my essential point. Why are you trying so hard to defend them, to defend this guy? And I mean, he says, well, what if you were in his shoes? But Geraldo, what if you were in Walter Scott's shoes and you got a bullet through your heart? What if you were in Walter Scott's family's shoes and you said they were at a barbecue a couple of days ago? Their family talked about it, and he was singing, he was joyful, etc. And now he's dead. What if you were in their shoes? Why did you kill the guy? And so, look, I get it. Again, the same guys at the gym, 2 guys, honestly, from what appeared to be, I don't know them personally, but privileged backgrounds. One was white, the other one wasn't. Okay, he was, I think likely Middle Eastern, but they were both privileged. Okay, they don't experience.
It's a nice gym.
Yeah, it's a nice gym. It is. Just be honest, right? So, and they were confounded, and I think that's a perspective that our audience doesn't always see, right? They were trying to make sense of it because in their perspective, the cops are almost always respectful. The cops would never shoot them in the back. So to them, when you show this tape, it's like they saw a tape of Martians landing on Earth. They don't understand it. They're like, well, why would a cop do that? So they need a Geraldo to come out here and say, well, his blood was boiling and the guy ran away. So they can make sense of it and go, yeah, that's right. Because to them, when you say police abuse, with a police targeting a community, police being, aggressive, overly aggressive, it's that they've never seen it. So they don't believe it. They can't understand it. It's not within their perspective. But now you see it, and this is not unique. This happens all the time, but a lot of time you don't have the video. And whenever you don't have video, even in that short portion where they don't have the video, from the dash cam to the video where he gets shot, Geraldo assumes there was a tussle over the gun. By the way, there is a witness. Let's go to the witness real quick.
But Phaeton Santana, the man who filmed the shooting with his cell phone, tells NBC News Scott did not.
No, he never got the taser of the police. He never got the taser.
So, apparently, he didn't grab the taser. That's the one witness there is. Who are we going to trust? Slager, who not only shot the guy, but when he didn't know there was video, said, oh, yeah, he went for my taser and I had to do it. And made up a whole series of lies.
First of all, it doesn't matter if he went for the taser. There does appear to be some scuffle going on at the beginning of the video that ends with the execution. But it doesn't matter. He was gone, and the cop knew for a fact he was unarmed, because he's got both the arms.
It's not plausible that at that moment he feared for his life.
It's impossible that he feared for his life. And here's what witness is more credible now. Here's the least credible witness in this, and that's Officer Slager.
Oh, no.
That's right. No, because we see that move. We see the shifting of evidence move. So, I don't believe anything you say. There might have been a scuffle for the taser. I don't believe you. I just simply don't believe you. And we know because you're in the process of obstructing justice in the moments after the shooting. You shoot a man, and your first thought, it would appear, is not, I got to call, get help. I got to render aid to the man. It was, I need to plant evidence, and then I need to cuff him. That was it. That's what happened. And of course, we also know that the cops lied about administering emergency aid to the guy because the video doesn't simply show it. Even as we hear the sirens of the ambulance getting close in the background, nobody's giving him mouth to mouth. Nobody's doing anything. He's lying there bleeding to death.
And the witness said they never did.
They never did it. They never did CPR. There was no CPR. So, we know that the cops have already lied instantly. I guess either not recognizing that there was video. It doesn't matter. None of that matters whether there was a struggle. And the blood boiling, again, I think it cuts against him. You're trained to react. Of course your blood's boiling. As you said, traffic stops are inherently dangerous. Domestic disturbances are more dangerous than traffic stops, and they are the things that cops nearly do most, right? And they are incredibly dangerous because you are coming into a situation of people fighting whose blood is boiling. And you have no clue whether there's a weapon in the house. No clue. It's incredibly dangerous. Unbelievably dangerous. So what you can't let happen is for you to get angry and then act on that anger. You have to be able to control your anger. This guy was obviously unfit to be a policeman, and thankfully I'm certain his days as that are over. And Geraldo might be right. It might be manslaughter. But again, it's the framing, and the framing worked because it already had those guys in the gym, representative of millions of Americans, thinking that almost a relief. Okay, he was running away and there was some sort of struggle. It's not what we think.
Yeah,
we can go back to implicitly.
Well, in some ways, it sort of mitigates the outrage, right? You're providing some explanation, but if you really start, to dig beneath the surface of that explanation, it doesn't meet the threshold of even close to justification. It's just an attempt to water down the outrage.
So let's go to JR for the last thought.
Just one small thing about the blood boiling. Think about it. It sucks. It's their profession, right? But it's always kind of brought up. And yeah, that's what you have to go through. I feel bad for you. Firefighters, if you're not about to run to the burning building, it's a brave thing to do. It's why we honor them so much. If they say, oh yeah, you know what, it was kind of hot in there, so I decided to stay out here and watch that kid die on the second floor. You're going to go, well, you shouldn't be a firefighter. Yeah, it's wrong to say because that's a brave thing to do. But that's your job, to not let your blood boil when you know the guy is not about to kill you. It seems like it's of those types of professions, the one that we say, well, he's just a guy getting paid $45,000.
For crying out loud, JR, that there was another cop right there. Presumably there were other cops there quickly. We knew the guy didn't have a gun. How fast would it have taken 4 cops to corral Walter Scott? They'd have had him in 48 seconds.
Yeah, he's 50 years old. You saw from the tape, not the fastest guy in the world.
No, Slater could have caught him. The other cop was coming from the other direction. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's an emotional moment. It's over. And you're allowed to walk him back roughly to the car if that's how you're going to blow off steam. Then we're not doing this segment. That's not what's going to outrage us.
Yeah, JR's fireman point is so great. If the fireman said, well, you got to understand, man, building was on fire, right? That's an incredibly stressful situation for me to run. That's why I didn't run into the building. Yeah, but that's your job, right? So
I like that analogy. It's strong. I'm afraid to say this because I think part of the problem, part of what's being created here is this sort of culture of militarization of the police force. It's been well documented. I think we saw that in Ferguson a lot. But to borrow liberally from military doctrine, one of the things Stan McChrystal said in Afghanistan, General McChrystal, was we've shot an amazing number of innocent people. So there was a moment where the Army was actually considering giving medals or awards for not shooting people, for showing restraint. Right?
Oh, wow.
So the last thing I want is to stretch the analogy that domestically somehow we're in a war zone, right? I think that ethos and that idea, that mental frame, has created some of the problems that we're seeing in terms of shootings, right? Unarmed or officer-involved shootings, right? But at the same time, that idea borrowed from the U.S. military that restraint is often a good thing and the heroic and admirable thing to do, I think that's an important principle for what we're talking about here.
Yeah. All right. Let's leave it at that. We got a lot more stories to get to. Let's take a super quick break. Come back and give you more. Alright, back on the Young Turks. I'll read a couple quick tweets for you guys. Loretto Taylor says, I'm trying to wrap my brain around the word righteous to describe pulling a guy over for a brake light.
It was righteous, yeah.
It's a fair point. I mean, you might have been correct in pulling him over. Righteous sounds like it's a bit much. Pedantic Plemicist says, sadly, there are those on the political right that deep down think a cop should be able to fire at someone black fleeing. Eyes of Haven says, might as well show Slager's dash cam video from 2013. It's just as irrelevant, which I think is actually the best point. All right.
Really, real quick, just a really interesting point that I thought Kaj made about the McChrystal considering that rewarding soldiers for restraint, and it reminded me of Cenk. I sent you this song, Springsteen's version, "Chimes of Freedom" of the Bob Dylan song, but it has that great line of the thunder is flashing, or the lightning's flashing for the warriors whose strength is not to fight. Like that, we spend a lot of time honoring people for having the strength to fight, when frequently it's the strength to be like, no, I got to run this guy down. I'm going to call my 70 friends. Will come help me. I'm going to run this 50-year-old man down.
Here's who would not have gotten that medal, Chris Kyle.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Who I knew quite well.
Oh, is that right?
Sure. Chris Kyle and I got in a fist fight, which does not put me in a rare category, but
so you were a Navy SEAL.
I was.
And so were you guys were in the service at the same time?
We did. We served. Chris was at SEAL Team 7 when I was on my first platoon at SEAL Team 1. So we crossed paths quite frequently.
Oh wow! What was the fight about?
We went fisticuffs. It's just like some officer enlisted stuff, and we decided we'd work it out behind the barracks on the beach. Little fisticuffs.
How'd you do?
I did all right. Chris is a big. He's a big boy. He's a big guy. But
did you?
I think I earned my respect. At the end of the day, Chris Kyle and I had clashed heads a lot because we have sort of different outlooks and different philosophies. I will say that I saw Chris Kyle at SHOT Show about a month before he was killed, and he was working on veterans issues, and we were able to sort of break bread and come together about working on veterans issues afterwards. So we sort of reconciled it in the end.
I know we got to get to other stuff, but this is a little interesting. So, I've been, it's hard to separate Chris Kyle from the Bradley Cooper version of Chris Kyle in the movie, but I have always thought it. So you're the exact right guy to ask. And that asking somebody who killed either 150 or 250, whatever the number was, it's really irrelevant. It's a staggering number of people that he killed, right?
Most decorated
sniper in American history. Killing these people, and then the consensus, and he does 4 tours, and then the consensus after 2004, 2005, 2006, it's like, you know what, we probably shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have gone. I don't think our brains are equipped to deal with that. So Chris Kyle's sort of what appears to be blind refusal to acknowledge that was not a righteous fight, that we weren't protecting freedom for Americans in Cleveland and Tulsa, is understandable. That we can't say, kill 200 people in the name of the United States of America, and then afterwards they'll be, it turns out, sorry, our bad. Is that a fair assessment of maybe what's going on inside the heads of some veterans?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in all fairness to Chris was an extraordinary warrior.
Right.
And he really did believe, and he was righteous about his mission, to use the word of the day.
Right, but how do you, I don't know that I could do.
And there are guys like Chris who are break glass in case of war guys who, we absolutely need. The problem is, once we break that glass, there's going to be shards on the ground, and it's really hard to pick those pieces up. And I think Chris's struggle, which he was very candid about, and he really tried to help others with it afterwards. I think Chris's struggle is emblematic of the struggle of a lot of returning veterans.
Right.
Well, okay. Yeah. I'm not a fan of Chris Kyle. I think he's an enormous liar. He was not on the Superdome, and he was not shooting people during Hurricane Katrina. None of that is true. And I met another sniper who said he was notorious among snipers for being a liar. So you knew him. I know it's super awkward, especially because he passed away. But I got to ask you, what was your experience in that category?
I don't know. Did he fight Jesse Ventura? I don't know. I know he fought me, but I don't know if he got in a bar fight with Jesse Ventura. I will tell you, Jesse Ventura has been ostracized from the SEAL community for for going after Chris's wife, his widow.
Even though the insurance is almost certainly going to cover it.
Probably, but still, it's sort of a breaking of the brotherhood.
It is, totally, yes, no question.
And he's really invoked the ire of our community because of that. No, I didn't know Chris well enough to know that. I just knew that we butted heads.
I think
on trading issues, like on respect issues, like, you know.
But I think all these things can be true. Like, I'm incredibly sympathetic for the position that we put him in. Like, having done what we asked him to do.
He seemed to enjoy that position.
I got it, but like John Kerry said, it's one thing to risk your life for your country. It's something else to kill for your country. And then afterwards to be essentially told, whether it's told formally, but the mood of the country is, no, we shouldn't have done that. We made a mistake. We should never have gone over there. Man, that's our response. That's on us. Like, we sent him there, and then we changed our minds collectively as a country, recognizing too late that it was a giant mistake, and then asking him to say, yeah, so unwind that in your head, the fact that you killed all these people. That's a lot to deal with. And maybe in view of the late life shift it is to helping veterans, you know, the tragedy is, I don't know where he would have been in 4 years, where his head would have been in 4 years, but it might have been somewhere interesting.
Yeah. And by the way, just for the record, I don't blame Jesse Ventura at all. The guy absolutely positively lied about him, made it up entirely. He's got every right to seek redress of that. And, I mean, he's saying, like, oh, he went after his wife. No, he went after the guy, and the guy happened to die, which is tragic, which everybody completely, utterly agrees is tragic, right? What was he supposed to do? Okay, the guy died. Okay, so instead of proving that I was right, I'm just going to drop it. I don't know. I don't blame Ventura at all. But then I'm not a SEAL, so I'm not in that game.
Unless Chris actually cleaned his clock. You know?
that would have been an interesting twist in the story.
Okay, right. So in Philadelphia, a junior college basketball player, and for the purposes of this story, his race is relevant, a black junior college basketball player found himself detained by 2 Philadelphia police officers for the crime of nothing, unless you consider humiliating them on the basketball court and having the videos of that go viral a crime. I don't know what that would be. That's a new one. So this is a kid named Samir Hill. He's a 5'7" point guard at Allegheny College. That's in Maryland. But I guess he was black back home in Philadelphia. And he was playing. And he's playing with some neighborhood kids. They're having a pickup game, and a couple of cops come by and they start trash talking, and then they start playing. And then the Samir Hill, apparently by his own accounts, totally humiliates the cops. Well, wait, do we have video of this?
Yes,
we do.
So let's take a look. This video is from Shallow Tattoo King. You should watch the whole thing on his channel as well. So let's take a look.
Oh, you go! Oh, shit! Oh, you go! Oh, shit!
Okay, so that's fun. Come on, fun. It was such a nice moment for the cops, right? Like, I know he smoked you, but he's faster than you. He's younger than you.
He's faster. He's younger. You're in your full uniform with your jacket on. There's no shame here.
Yeah, so we'll tell you what the cops did in a minute. But there's cop 2 steps up to the plate. Let's watch that.
So they try to switch up. Like, I'll go. My man. I got my man. Yeah. Let's switch, right?
Oh, no. Oh. Stop up. All that training y'all do, man, you ain't helping.
Right, so that was the problem. The cop stopped him the first time.
Yeah. There's no way I could have stopped that kid.
He's incredibly good. He's a junior college point guard. He's a good player. Yeah, he's a good player.
There's no shame in that. And the guy, and it's not like I thought the cop was going to slip when he was doing the crossover, right? That would have been a slightly more embarrassing. Just as he was going by him, he kind of slipped a little bit. This was such a fun, great story until the video went viral. Apparently, Chad Johnson shared it, and so the cops get embarrassed. And then they go arrest him.
The next day, right? The next day, the cops come by and they take the kid in. They handcuffed me to a bench for an hour and a half, Samir Hill says. They were doing a search of his car. They searched the car for like an hour. They didn't find anything. They let me go. The whole time they were telling me how they weren't going to lock me up. They were targeting my friend. And then after an hour and a half or so, they just let him go. No charges.
I guess it's conceivable that, wild coincidence, they happened to right afterwards be looking for his friend, and they knew him, and they brought him in, and searched his car even though they were looking for his friend, and they didn't ask him any information about his friend. They had him locked up. But that would be a wild coincidence, right? Or they wanted to say, like, oh, yeah, you're going to embarrass us by putting that stuff up online. My guess is the cops didn't mind it on the day of, although maybe I'm being too fair to the cops, right? But they were probably like, okay, they got razzed a lot once it went viral online. They're like, oh, you're going to put it up online? Remember, we're cops, so let's bring you in. And then there was no tasing, thank God. There was no shooting. It didn't get tragic. But, like, let you know who's boss.
Right.
Don't do that.
But I mean,
do that.
But by the way, right, it didn't get tragic, but I mean, don't abuse your power. Like, God forbid Samir Hill didn't have a warrant that he was afraid of and run away, and then it accidentally gets tragic.
Or got justifiably angry, right at that moment, and then blood boiling, and Geraldo would say, well, then he had a right.
Right, because he didn't have. He's not. Cop calls you in for no reason. You're not allowed to get your blood boiling.
That's right.
Right, but if you protest in any way, the cop, you question his authority. He's allowed to.
I think you guys got it all wrong. He carried. You see that crossover? Like, that's what he really got.
He did. That's right. Yeah.
Right? Palm in that thing. No, this is really sad, and it's really sad in light of the last story that we spoke about, right? Because in the first half, when you're watching the video, this is actually the antidote to the shooting in the back. This is what we want our police officers to do. The best police officers I know, and I know like a lot of police officers from my time in the military and the crossover between military and law enforcement, they're great guys. This is how we want them to engage in the community for the first 50%, right? We want them talking to people, having a good time, playing hoops, falling on their ass, getting embarrassed, right? And then they go and disparage and like shank all of that goodwill by arresting him. It's the literal opposite of what we want.
And remember, handcuffing somebody and bringing them down to headquarters.
Humiliating.
It could have incredibly significant consequences. He could get fired. I mean, I once had a boss that didn't want to listen to anything, right? So if I got handcuffed in front of that guy and led away, when I came back to explain, no, I played basketball with the cops, he wouldn't have listened to anything. He could just fire me, right? So that easily could have happened. He happens to be a student. I mean, so many horrible things come out. It's a false arrest. Don't do that. It's when you. And by the way, you don't have to book someone for it to be a false arrest. You have detained them, and you should not have detained. That is a false arrest, right? And you've handcuffed him, etc. I think that he needs to pursue some sort of, action against officers.
Oh, no, I think he's already won.
In a sense, he's won.
I think he's vindicated in the media.
I mean, we see how these guys, if cops are able to get away as often as they are, and there's, whatever it is, 280 fatal shootings of citizens in South Carolina have resulted in no prosecutions for police officers, 280 shootings by police officers. I'm pretty sure that these cops are going to come up with a legal reason to have done that. It's not asking for much to say, no, we had an anonymous tip that there was heroin in that car, so we searched it,
God, he could have organized a basketball tournament. He could have done so many great things with it, and they ruined it.
And, these kids
turned it into a terrible story.
Samir Hill's in college. He says, my friends are in college. Like, these aren't guys who have drugs in their car. Maybe they're in college. Maybe they are guys who have drugs in their car. So I don't want to suggest in this that Samir Hill is some street tough who the cops could have used later as a source. But to your original point about how you want cops doing this, the idea is, the community policing idea in its broadest form is that you're involved in the community and you do this, and so then later, when you have to go into the community to ask questions, to solve a crime, theoretically to make the community safer, you're not treated as a pariah. You're treated as the guys who played basketball or friends of the guys who played basketball, and they're like, yeah, I heard this guy Don did it, and he lives up on 4th Street, and then you've just saved yourself endless work and made things safer for everyone.
Totally. And, I want to commend the initial instincts of these two officers to actually do that. Like, to engage, to have a good time, to smile, to treat people as people, and not always as this sort of cop-criminal dynamic. That's the right MO. And then just to destroy all of that goodwill, it's kind of tragic. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll end on one last downer, which is that they wouldn't have done it to a rich person. They just wouldn't have, right? Like, if you were in Beverly Hills and that happened, you're going to go arrest somebody in Beverly Hills and handcuff them. You know what kind of trouble you're going to get for that false arrest, right? And the world could come down on you, right? But so this is part of unfortunately, the same dynamic of the powerful being able to do things to the powerless and get away with it. Now, in this case, there's a funny video online. it's been exposed, so they didn't quite get away with it. But the reason they did it in the first place of handcuffing the kid because they thought, well, I can do anything to you.
No kid at Beverly Hills High has that kind of
handcuffed to a bench.
That's fair enough.
We know that, right?
Handcuffed to the bench for an hour straight. I don't think Beverly Hills can do that.
Okay, actually, let's do one more story. I know we're short on time, but we started a little bit late as well.
Which one do you want to do? You want to do
You know what?
Ted Cruz, Jihad, Joe Biden?
You're leading. You make the call.
Ted Cruz.
Let's go with Ted Cruz.
So, Ted Cruz, we have video for this too, right? I lost that sheet. So here we go. There.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
here we go. So, while you saw many Republican candidates either trying to walk a delicate balance on the Indiana and Arkansas laws on so-called religious freedom, others retreating from their position, many others just staying completely silent, not Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz saw this as an opportunity to reinforce his right-wing credentials by comparing the activists who want the same rights for gay people in Indiana and Arkansas as everyone else to the jihadists of Boko Haram and ISIS. Here's Ted Cruz.
Look at the jihad that is being waged right now in Indiana and Arkansas, going after people of faith who respect the biblical teaching that marriage is the union of one man and one woman. We need to bring people together to the religious liberty values that built this country. It wasn't long ago when this was an area of bipartisan agreement. It wasn't long ago. It used to be Democrats and Republicans, they might disagree on marginal tax rates. But when it came to the First Amendment, we all stood together and said, of course, every one of us has a God-given right to seek out and worship God and to live according to our faith and our conscience and our beliefs.
Mike Huckabee is like, this guy's out-godding me.
Yeah, well, that's exactly his purpose.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to do. He's sitting next to Huckabee, and he's like, no, vote for me instead. I'll ironically out jihad. I mean, he just called gay rights activists jihadis.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
I'm pretty sure they'd be against jihad.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's right. And I'm pretty sure the jihadists are against the Gay Rights Act.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
It's just, it's like, from Ted Cruz and from so many on the right, this is fairly, this is lighter fare of bashing and discrimination. It's so silly that it's almost hard to take seriously. But, this matters. This is, and why the Indiana law mattered, not because I'm terribly worried about whether two 38-year-old men who want to spend their lives together are going to be able to get a cake or some flowers for their wedding. They'll be fine. But it sends this incredibly clear message to 12, 13, 14-year-old gay kids who are terrified to come out and fearful of what the repercussions could be, that God hates them. And that people like Ted Cruz in power running for president of the United States hate them, think they're different, think they're strange, think they should be ostracized, think they're like ISIS. That's what he's saying. And that is just, it's despicable. And that's why I didn't want to ignore the story.
So Ted Cruz is great at being Orwellian. So he says the guys who are the Christian zealots have the jihad against them. Right, no, but wait a minute. The fundamentalists are the ones that wage jihad usually, and you're the one saying, I want to impose my religious beliefs on you. I didn't ask for your religious beliefs. That's what jihadis do. They impose their religious beliefs on people. So, and then he has this line in the middle of that video you just saw. He said, we need to bring people together. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That sounds good. To the religious liberty values that built this country. So we need to get all of you guys to shut up and believe in my religious beliefs, and we're going to bring you together so that you all don't have individual ideas and you just follow exactly what I tell you to do. Well, that's pretty Orwellian.
I'm so tired of this extreme right-wing fallacy that talks about the Judeo-Christian founding values of this country, right? Like, my 8th grade civics was about, this democracy as a melting point. And when we engage in this kind of politics, I really feel like we get away from it. I'm much more inspired by a figure like Jim Wallace, who's an evangelical on the left, who, talks about the Bible having something like 17 references to homosexuality and 3,000 references to poverty. So who does Jesus care more about? Gay people or poor people? I think poor people on the preponderance of the evidence. And I would really imagine and love to see this Republican primary geared more towards socioeconomic issues than these hot button, tired old social issues that the right wing tends to hang their hat on.
And at this point,
we moved beyond this.
But we did, but the Republican primary voters didn't. So right now, Wall Street Journal, NBC News poll out, 59% of Americans are in favor of gay marriage, making it legal.
Right. Okay. So that means to his demise.
Yeah. So you're looking at a dinosaur, right? But unfortunately, he's among other dinosaurs. The Republican primary voters are not that 59%. And he thinks, I can't go low enough in a Republican primary for president. Okay. So I'm going to go lower and lower and lower. For the people who are in the camp, 59% of Americans who believe that gays should have the same right to marry, not any more rights, the same right to marry as straight Americans, and he says you're jihadis.
And the thing, and he's using an argument that we've used, except he's twisting it around. I mean, it's much like the war on Christmas. Again, it's that the white Christians in this country are somehow under some sort of attack, that they're the victims. But we used to talk about how, like, there are certain things that Democrats and Republicans used to agree on, used to come together on. As recently as the 1990s, when the sort of Bob Dole, John McCain, pretty conservative wing of the Republican Party at least flexed its power, Richard Uygur. And that was foreign policy. Like, that's the argument where you can make there was a time when Republicans wouldn't have tried to undermine a treaty a president made with another country, or a peace deal that the president had made with another country. And now everything is fair game. Every single thing is fair game. Every single thing is an opportunity to again further demonize Barack Obama, push Barack Obama seemingly further to the left, which is at least some upside to that. But it's inconceivable that 20 years ago we would have had Republicans undermining this. They might have voiced their concerns. There might have been reports about Republicans, some conservatives and some probably Democrats also concerned about this deal. But foreign policy brought people together. Now nothing does. And now he just makes up, harkening back to a time when Democrats and Republicans agreed on this. Yeah, like in 1860, when we all feared gay people. That's right. We all agreed right around then that everybody agreed there shouldn't be gay marriage in 1884. There was a pretty strong consensus in the United States.
I believe there was other consensuses back then that also were not overly positive.
That's right.
Okay. We're out of time for the first hour. Kaj Larson, everybody check him out. First of all, at Kaj Larson on Twitter, at Vice News, also on Twitter.
K-A-J.
Right.
Normal spelling of Kaj.
Yeah. and the Los Angeles Bureau Chief of Vice News. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
really appreciate it.
Thanks, Taj.
All right. We'll be right back for the second hour. Back on the Young Turks. Cenk with the in the middle of the banana hour.
I know you're totally sabotaging it.
It's a banana sandwich.
Oh yeah, that's a little weird and awkward. Okay, all right. Before Anna hits you with all the fascinating news we have today, there's more cop stories in the program. Boy, we could use Jimmy. It's a little tough to do 4-person panels in this really small room that we're temporarily using. But we got to bring Jimmy in soon to rage on the cops.
Yeah.
So if you thought Ben and I disagreed on cops.
Our disagreement was a pretty refined, pointless one. That's why I dropped it. I'm like, this is a fairly silly argument.
Up for 2 Webbies. Young Turks up for 1 Webbie, and that is for News and Politics. We want to win the People's Voice Award. And you guys get to vote on that, and that's what has led to every Webbie we've ever won is when you guys vote for us. So we'd really appreciate that. Interesting little side note, Anna Kasparian kind of up for a Webbie because she did Sundance TV's Dream School. I also did that. Apparently I was not good enough to qualify for a Webbie, but Anna was. She's in a category with Bravo and CNN and something called 72 and Sunny, which I thought had something to do with Philadelphia, but apparently doesn't. Okay. We're up against Reuters TV, AJ Plus, and HuffPost Live. So we want you guys to vote if you can. The links are in the video below, of course, just to make it super simple.
I love when you go on the Huffington Post and you click on an interesting story and it's a video, it's a live conversation about it. It's great. It's my favorite thing.
I haven't said a word. I didn't say anything.
It's great. I'm like, oh, this is a drink. No, good. No, this is what I wanted to do. Because I can't make my own decision about whether I want to watch a video or not. I like to have other people make it for me.
I haven't said a word. Okay.
So you guys can vote until April 24th. And all you have to do is click on, the little icon that has either me or the Young Turks, depending on which category you're in. And then you sign in using Facebook or Twitter or your personal email address. But remember, after you vote, you have to go back and verify your email. If you don't verify your email, then your vote doesn't count.
Where do you go to vote?
The link is actually in the description box, so you guys can check it out there.
And if you're not seeing it in that context, it's bit.ly/TYT-Webby and bit.ly/Anna Webby. Anna's one N, of course, A-N-A Webby. So thank you for doing that, guys. That's why we say we're too strong, because you guys always lead us to victory on these things, so we appreciate it. And if Anna wins, she'll be as unbearable as I usually am when I win less meaningful things like fantasy football championships.
Can Anna wear the fantasy football belt if she wins the Webby?
She'll have to ask TYT Sports, the current holders of the belt.
I feel like I deserve that belt because recently I did something amazing while golfing, which you guys can check out on TYT Sports pretty soon.
Really?
I did, and I was wearing heels while I did it.
Really? I did not know
I'm a good putter.
Are you? All right, well, I will check that out on TYT Sports. All right, thank you, guys. We appreciate your votes. All right, what's next, then?
All right. We start off the second hour today with police brutality stories. The first one actually comes from Southern California. KNBC TV in Southern California recently captured footage of Southern California police officers brutally beating a man after they were in a chase with him. Now, this is involving a 30-year-old by the name of Francis Cusack. And apparently, they had gone to his home because they were concerned that he was a suspect in an identity theft case. So the video captured by KNBC TV showed as many as 13 uniformed deputies delivering blows to a man surrendering on the ground in the desert. Now, I'm going to show you the video, which is graphic. It's difficult to watch. After we take a look at that, I'll give you more context into the situation. Ground and surrendering when this happened. You see a horse there. Apparently, he had gotten into a chase with the cops, and at one point, he gets out of the car and gets on a horse and uses the horse to get into the middle of some desert. And then finally, he falls off the horse and he surrenders. And then the cops, even though he had surrendered, continuously beat him up.
Put his own hands behind his head, I think, right?
Yeah, he did. So, look, no one's defending what the guy did initially. He leads the cops away on a car chase. Wrong, right? He leaves a car behind, hops on a horse. What is he? What is it, Old Western?
What are you,
I know, right? So, and he's like, well, I wish I saw that part of the video. Where
it's kind of incredible.
Yeah, where he's on the horse and he's like, won't take too long, he's running away from the cops. Okay, but at the end, he's caught and he knows that he falls off the horse. And he clearly is in a surrender position, right?
Puts his hand behind his back, not his head. Right?
Yeah, and spread out, right? And then they come and kick the living crap out.
They tasered him first.
Yeah.
Tasered him. And they said it was ineffective because his clothing was too baggy.
Yeah. Sure. What a terrible excuse. Anyway, and then if you notice, there was a yellow object that one of the cops was using to smash his head. We believe that was a taser.
Yeah.
So you tase him, and then you use a taser to smash his head. And all those cops, like, did the ones that came in at the end and also kicked him in the head, and some kicked him in the groin, did you think that maybe he was not restrained? No, you knew he was restrained.
They knew he was restrained, and in reality, think about where they were, the environment, right? There were no other people there, so the assumption was, all right, we get to do whatever we want. We don't have to worry about cameras now.
Yeah.
But here is this local news station with their helicopter just hanging out, and they're like, oh, police brutality, let's film this and use it for our newscast. And so that's the incredible thing. It's the behavior that they...
Because I want to make one point specifically about one of the officers. Just run the video again. Like, there's a blow to the head there. And then a little later, another guy is going to come in and kick there. The head kick, I guess that's rerunning the first video. Kick to the head. I mean, you could file attempted murder charge. Like, he kicking somebody in the head. You killed him. One blow. One blow. With a kick to the head. Dead. I mean, those are serious crimes being committed against that guy right there.
Yeah, the BuzzFeed article says 3 more deputies run toward the man, describing the video in more context, with one quickly kicking the man in the head.
That's right, yeah.
So, to Ben's point, combining our points, you certainly didn't think you needed to kick him in the head to restrain him. He was clearly restrained.
No one's more restrained.
Right, and one kick to the head could kill you. So why are you doing that? Because you want to get it on the fun. Right. Oh, say I get beating the crap out of somebody. Oh, I almost missed it. Thank God I made it and done.
And to go back to the North Charleston police officer, clearly what is shared here is the defiance of authority. like what Walter Scott did by running out of the car first, and then when he caught him the first time, running away again. He didn't listen to me. And this guy got in a car and then a horse, and look, the cops were just trying to serve a warrant. You're supposed to come out, and he ran, so he made them mad. And this is the payback. As opposed to the payback should be, in addition to all the other charges against you, now you're fleeing from police, and that's also another charge.
Yeah, nobody's on the guy's side. You can't lead the cops on a chase like this. We want him arrested. We want him put in jail, serve whatever time he needs to on all those charges, right? So that's not the conversation. The conversation is, we didn't write into the laws in our democracy. And by the way, if you happen to catch a guy who ran away from you, kick him in the head several times, kick him in the groin, smash him with a taser. We did that. You're not allowed to do that. That's against the law. By the way, all those cops should be arrested. Right? I know. In this country, cops are above the law. That's why they do things like that. And Ben's right. Number one crime in America is disrespecting a police officer. That's the thing that will get you in the biggest amount of trouble with the cops. It's not actually a crime, but to them, that's the worst crime in the world.
And there are a lot of ways the cops can respond to that to make them feel like they win, too. Like, you can add charges. You can add, clearly you could add at the end of this failure to obey a command, resisting arrest. He resisted arrest. Absolutely. You don't need to swung a punch to resist arrest. That guy resisted arrest. You add that charge to him. You want to add 13 officers? You want to add 13 counts of resisting arrest? Okay, let his lawyer sort it out. All those things are things you can do. But at no point are you allowed to hit it. That's it. It's over. And if you want to hit somebody who runs away from you, you don't get to be a police officer.
So I don't think it's right for anyone to run away from a cop. You're not supposed to do that. But at the same time, I wonder whether or not all of these cases of police brutality make people so fearful that they're going to get murdered by cops that they want to do whatever they can to avoid that.
I don't think so. I think that's an instinct of a guy who almost certainly committed the crime that they were going to arrest him for. I don't know. It's alleged at this point. But here's the thing. This guy, let's presume for a second, we don't know, but let's presume that he committed the identity theft, right? Mm-hmm. And then he ran from cops, right? So he screwed up somebody's life with an identity.
Yeah, I hate that.
I got terrible thing.
It happened to me twice.
And then he flees from cops, causing cops who should be doing something useful. They have to chase, however many cops have to chase this guy down. He's on a freaking horse, right? And guess what? 1, 2, 3 people here are now sympathetic to Francis Putak, right? I got no interest in being sympathetic to this guy. What you've done is the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do. You turned a criminal into the good guy when all you had to do was arrest him. And if you want to bump his head on the door as you put him in your car, no one's going to give you a hard time. That's not like, and you want to add charges to it, and you want to make him wait an extra 2 hours before he gets to call his lawyer as punishment or something, right? We're not doing that. You shouldn't do that, but we're not doing that story. Mm-hmm. But what you can't do is make us sympathetic to him. Make us think that, oh, poor Francis Putak. I got a busy life. I have things that people I worry about. I don't want to worry about him, but these incompetent police officers have made me concerned about this guy.
So, and look, I've had my identity stolen a couple times, like I said, and if the cops would laugh me out of headquarters, they're like, my identity, we're never going to catch the guy, get out of here. Don't even bother filing it. But if they caught the guy, I'd want charges that really screwed up my life in a lot of ways. I wouldn't want you to kick the crap out of him.
That
right?
Wouldn't make you feel any better.
Right, that's not how you're supposed to do it. And finally, KMBC is reporting that the cops, to be fair to them, also had to get treatment. So they were also hurt. 2 deputies were also treated for dehydration. Oh. So they got thirsty as they were kicking the crap out of the guy.
No, the incredible thing is the cops were like, yeah, the guy had to go to the hospital to get treated for injuries. The injuries are unknown. But for us, we suffer from dehydration.
Don't say dehydration. How absurd is it? Oh, man, we got parks out there in the desert. Oh, man, I mean,
well, they did use a lot of energy, yeah. They weren't properly hydrated when they got into that beatdown.
Yeah, absurd.
Yeah. All right. An NYPD detective is under investigation after he was caught on surveillance stealing money from a cash register during a cigarette raid. Now, if you're wondering what a cigarette raid is, apparently in New York there's a huge issue with untaxed cigarettes, and cops are trying to get to the bottom of it. So they went into one convenience store while Ali Abdullah was working, and they proceeded to do a raid. During the raid, all of a sudden, there was $2,650 missing, and Abdullah thought that maybe one of his employees stole the money. But later, he looked at surveillance video, and he saw this. See him there? That's the detective. kind of hard to see. But he's grabbing the money. You see the money. He's like, oh, I want that. I like
turning his back sort of so nobody sees him take the money. Maybe there's some more money over here. What's he doing now?
I think he's stuffing it in a bag or something.
He's raiding the minibar. It's weighted, detective. They're gonna know.
There he is. So the detective is Ian Cyrus, and he has been placed on leave with no pay. They're launching an internal investigation. Abdullah says, I was shocked it was a cop. I can understand a thief coming inside the store and stealing, but cops? No. And also, the $2,650 is not listed on police documents of items seized during the raid. Because as you know, when a raid occurs, oftentimes cops will seize money because they'll claim that that's part of the evidence, and then they get to keep the money as, the forfeiture loss. The department, exactly. So in this case, that's not what happened. This money wasn't taken as evidence. This money was just taken so the guy could take $2,600.
Yeah, and they turned in $593. Like, turned in meaning they
took it from the register and they turned it in. And presumably, even if it turns out he wasn't selling the illegal cigarettes, he's probably not getting the $600 back. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's we did a story on it recently. When cops seize your money, right or wrong, you get it back only 5% of the time. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing. You should get back every dollar.
Yeah,
theoretically, you should get the money back with interest.
Yeah, I talked to a guy recently. They did that to him. He couldn't believe it. He's like, they just take it and they don't give it back. I'm like, yeah, I know. So people can't believe it until it happens to them. So I like how they're torn. Ali Abdullah, they're like, oh, business owner. We are in favor of business owners, but Ali Abdullah,
Well, they apparently had issues with untaxed cigarettes in the past. I didn't realize this was actually a serious issue in New York. Apparently, taxes on cigarettes are so high in New York that people will smuggle them from New Jersey and then they'll sell them untaxed, yada yada. Which is why I love that the cops are getting to the bottom of that issue.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, look, the Eric Garner case was over loose cigarettes. This is the same untaxed cigarettes. This is the same thing, untaxed cigarettes. Just calm down with the untaxed cigarette thing.
You see what happens, you libs, when you implement high taxes?
But I actually do agree with that. I think that you have to find the right balance. Like, if you make things illegal, you'll get a black market for it. If you tax them too high, you'll get a black market for it, right? So you got to find the right balance where people go, it's not worth doing the black market. I'll just pay the 25% tax, right? But if you make it like 45%, they're like, where's the loose cigarettes?
Yeah.
Right? Where's the untaxed cigarettes?
Well, yeah, and of course, at some point, though, there might be, even if it's 25%, there might be value in bulk trading of it. And if that's going on, then okay. But I mean, again, a raid, somehow a raid seems wrong. Raiding, we're generally against the drug war as it's currently executed. I'm not so sure I want every drug legal, but the raids, everything just feels disproportionate. And again, that money's not yours, Detective Cyrus. The money belongs to someone else.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you. Another part of this.
That's stealing.
That's stealing, but I mean, you're right. It's such a basic thing. Like, what makes you think you could just take that money? You didn't win it gambling. It's not yours.
So the department, you're hilarious. The department figured out that this happened, right? Because Abdullah actually called the cops and let the cops know what happened, and they just completely ignored him. Now, according to WABC, they said Internal Affairs didn't launch an investigation until after the station contacted them. Cyrus was suspended without pay, and 2 other officers were placed on modified duty. Sergeant Fritz Glamon, who supervised the raid, and Sergeant Valerie Santos, who allegedly didn't report the complaint after being told about it.
I mean, it's so dumb. I mean, once they've got the complaint, and he said he had surveillance video, I mean, it's just so stupid. Then at the bare minimum, Detective Cyrus, you just have to show up at that place the next day and say, I was going through stuff. Turns out I have this $2,700. I think it's yours. And, whatever.
Yeah. The thing is, we probably don't see the hundreds of times it doesn't make it into the news. And so they're probably used to like, oh, you got a complaint. Yeah, they got us working around the clock on that, right?
No, but if
because like, we did a story just yesterday, Mario Gibbons guy, who got tased and pummeled by Slager, the guy who wound up shooting Walter Scott, right? It was his earlier abuse case. And he files a complaint. They're like, complaint? Yeah, right. No, we investigated. He's totally not guilty. right? So I'm sure that that's in a lot of ways standard operating procedure.
I'm sure it is. I don't doubt that they dismiss complaints of with only cursory investigations, if any. But if Ali Abdullah mentions that there's video of it, unless you're incredibly dumb, you stand up and take notes. That's all.
Yeah, I wonder if he mentioned the video at that point. And then finally, it's a cop story, so I'm just a little relieved that no one got shot.
I know.
Like, oh, they only stole money. Great.
Exactly.
All right, should we take a break?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do that. When we come back, volunteer firefighters hazing one another. How did that end up? Hopefully.
Okay, I like it. Okay, finally, we get to move on from cops and then bash firefighters. Who normally were on the side of. All right, you'll find out one.
Hey, man. Are you going to find these guys? Or, you got any promising leads? Or
Leads? Yeah, sure. I'll just check with the boys down at the crime lab. They got 4 more detectives working on the case. They got us working in shifts. Leads.
my only hope is that the Big Lebowski kills me.
on the Young Turks, Cenk and Anna and Ben with you guys. Look, we're going to do a promo on this on YouTube, but you guys should get in on this. If you're anywhere near DC, Ben and I are going to host the Young Turks at the Museum on April 24th.
Museum, I think.
It's about the news. It's the Newseum.
Oh, it's clever then.
Yeah. So if you go to tytnetwork.com, you'll see a banner on the upper left corner. It's very obvious. That's how you get things. You got to get tickets to enter the Newseum. Unless you're a student, it's free for the students. So, and we're doing a panel too. Does the media have real power? Okay. So I'm going to do that with Michael Isikoff, the COO of the Museum, and others. But Ben and I are going to do a show first. So go check that out on tytnetwork.com. Okay. Now a couple of quick tweets for you guys. Hissy Fiddix says, "You need to bring in Jimmy Dore, or you're going to have trouble with us." Okay, I hear you, but don't throw a Hissy Fiddix over it. Okay. And
that's their pun. You can't.
I know.
You can't double back on that.
You know what I did? I appropriated their pun.
You did. You appropriated.
It's weird that Cenk would like screw up puns and make them unfunny.
But I think that's their handle though. Unless they created that today, you see what I'm saying? Or unless that's their whole thing, is that all they do is throw hissy fits.
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, all right. Okay. Omi says, if boiling blood is an excuse for violence, why did Geraldo sue that wrestler that hit him? Sounds like the wrestler was justified.
Damn.
Except that wasn't Geraldo. It was John Stoss.
Oh, that was John Stoss.
Oh, yeah. I got confused for a second.
Oh, that was...
But I mean, he could make that argument to his colleague, John Stoss. He'll be like, John,
You know what's so fun? I never, vocalize this. But now I'm kind of happy that there's someone on my camp. I've always mixed up John Stossel and Geraldo.
Well, they're both.
Well, Omi's on your side.
They're both loathsome.
Yeah.
And they both work for Fox.
They do now. Yeah. Stoss for a long, long time worked for ABC.
Yeah,
and
2020.
When he did that story, he was at ABC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
We reject and condemn violence. But that video is fun.
Dr. David D. Schultz's blood was boiling. Okay, McCade Bell asks for a very specific request. Cenk, can we get a Marco Rubio water break impression? What a random thing to ask, but yes, you can. Okay.
President Rubio.
The best part about that was that he did get closer to the camera as he took the sip of water.
Yeah. God, that was unfortunate, but awesome. Okay, member shout-outs. Members of the day are Alexander Yazdi, who is member number 1952, and then Cameron Dozier Drum. Cameron, you got to be a running back, right? Cameron Dozier Drum. That's an awesome running back name. Member number 2200. I like how us sports idiots, we're positive based on a name, even on position. You're not a football player. No, you're a running back. It's that specific, and it's obvious, so stop trying to deny it. Okay. So, Cameron, Alexander, you guys are awesome. And we don't do post games on Friday, but we do every other day. We had a lot of fun ones. I get to put it down on there. Okay. Okay. If you want to become a member of the show, tytnetwork.com/subscribe, and that was really smooth.
That was vintage scullying there.
The play-by-play.
Yeah, play-by-play.
Putting it down. Pointless information. All right, forward. Casper.
5 volunteer firefighters in Ellis County, Texas, have been arrested for sexual assault charges after they hazed a new recruit. Now, among those are Alex Chase Miller. He was actually someone who won an award for his firefighting duties. And also, the other person who got arrested was Keith Edward Wiskowski. Now, what did they do? Apparently, the vile act filmed by a woman who was also arrested on her cell phone saw 5 firefighters hold the man down and abuse him after initially trying with a broomstick. So they apparently went into a refrigerator, they grabbed a chorizo sausage, and then they attempted to sodomize him with that sausage after they had attempted to sodomize him with a broomstick. Okay, the incident ended with the man crawling into a nearby bathroom where he threw up.
It's funny.
Yeah, just hazing, having fun.
The man later tried to clean himself in a shower, but authorities say Tucker took his towel, forcing him to retrieve a pair of shorts from his car while using only his hands to cover himself.
Here's what appropriate hazing might be. While he's taking a shower, you take his clothes and he has to run to the car, only covering himself with a towel or his hands. Like, no, inappropriate, but we're not doing the story. And you've been like, you had to run naked, now you're a firefighter. Get on with your business of fighting fires.
What is it about fraternities and, in this case, volunteer fire departments full of so-called macho men doing these types of acts, right? Like, I would assume that most men wouldn't think, oh, a new recruit, let me find a chorizo sausage to put up his ass.
Yeah. No, but apparently they do. That's the amazing part. You're right. I mean, this happens. Look, so now we know this. They got arrested. My guess is this has happened thousands of times. And not specific to just fire departments, hazing under whole cops, firemen, frats, anywhere where guys, macho men congregate. I feel like there's a significant percentage chance somebody's going to try to stick something up somebody's ass.
It's I mean, I don't know whether, yes, I mean, 1,000 times ever, yeah, not thousands of times, perhaps here in wherever
Ellis County.
Ellis County.
No, not in this they'd have to work pretty hard in this one firehouse. Like, oh my God, here we go again. Give me the sausage, right? No, but I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. I mean, don't think that these are the only guys in the country doing it.
No. Because every hazing story, I mean, if the hazing story makes the news, something hideous happened in the hazing. It's not always this, but it's something like this. What it is debasing and humiliating the new recruit. I don't think this is necessarily what he means, but my therapist, Gary Penn, is a great therapist. But he's, when many things boil down to, he's like, look, men are stupid, women are crazy. Like Keith Foley was Alaska, right? He was the Secretary of State when we got Alaska, and they were like, I can't believe we paid for Alaska. It's Seward's Folly. So you want to see Seward's Folly? It was like maybe the funniest thing you've ever said, or the funniest pun.
Anyway, so there was this really great, I believe it was an ESPN article about what happens in locker rooms, like professional athletes, what they do in the locker rooms. And there's so much homoerotic behavior happening. And so what is it about these like big, strong, masculine men getting together in a locker room or getting together in some sort of club or organization?
Or, again, lesser than they in some capacity in their warped way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I hope their excuse is, we do this to all the new recruits. Like that somehow makes it less heinous than if they singled him out for some particularly hideous act.
I see what you're saying. But either way, cut it out, guys. Cut it out, man. Like, you want to do hazing, I don't know.
You carry what they do in baseball and football. Like, you have to carry the veterans' bags.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Totally
even I allowed that hazing.
Right.
You got to go get us water. You got to do, and the pain in the ass stuff. We're in the middle of a football game. We're all watching and stuff. Hey, Johnny, you got to go get beers for everybody. No, but wait, it's the fourth quarter. No, you got to go get beers. That's hazing, okay?
Yeah, there's a 7 o'clock meeting. You have to get up early. You have to go to Starbucks. You have to bring 15 coffees. It's a pain in the ass. You have to do it.
And you catch him off guard and you dump ice water on him. Just don't stick anything in his ass. We're not asking for that much, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's humiliating. Yeah, humiliating to them and obviously humiliating to the poor guy.
I am going to skip ahead to the birth control story, so I'm letting the director know.
Okay, the director is now aware. He has been notified.
Okay. All right. UCLA... Okay, let me start that again. A new study by UCLA researchers finds that birth control, hormonal birth control that's taken orally, can actually change the structure of a woman's brain. Now, as you know, there are some side effects to taking oral contraceptives, but this latest study shows that there are changes that are made in the brain, but they're unsure as to whether or not these are temporary changes or permanent changes. So now let me tell you what they found. In a study conducted on 90 women, neuroscientists at UCLA found that 2 key brain regions, the lateral orbital frontal cortex and the posterior cingulate cortex, were thinner in women who had used oral contraception than in women who did not. Now, the lateral orbital frontal cortex plays an important role in emotion regulation and responding to rewards, while the posterior cingulate cortex is involved with inward-directed thought and shows increased activity when we recall personal memories and plan for the future. All right, so there's the very complicated way of saying that it impacts the part of your brain that helps you deal with emotions. Okay? Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense because for some women, when they first start taking birth control, it can have some serious impact on your mood. And you have these mood swings. Some women can have suicidal thoughts. Some women can just go from being extremely happy to being extremely sad. And so at first it was assumed that, okay, well, you're putting synthetic hormones into your body and your body's just trying to get used to it. So those mood swings are normal and they'll normalize as you continue usage. But it's actually having an impact on certain regions of your brain. They're thinner. So this could be a serious complication, but who knows? We don't know quite which way it goes. I mean, it might help certain things, right? That's not true. Not okay. So so I should also note there have been conflicting studies. So back in 2010, there was a study indicating that birth control can actually have an opposite effect, right? But in this latest study, they found that the portions of your brain that get affected could lead to increased anxiety and depressive symptoms that some women experience when they start taking the pill. Yeah.
So it's really troubling. They're not sure whether the effects are permanent or just when you're on the pill. But if it's actually changing the physiology of your brain, then that would lean towards permanent.
Yeah.
And so that really scares the heck out of me.
It scares me too, but understand, look, this isn't a story that we're doing for fear-mongering. The pill is extremely important for many women. But the reason why these stories are important, in my opinion, is because sometimes you'll have legislation being proposed that would offer birth control without a prescription. And I think that that's a terrible idea. I think it's very important to go to a doctor and consult with them before you start taking oral contraceptives because it does have an impact on your body. It does have an impact on your mood. And it's not just some benign thing. It's something that could really impact you in the worst possible way. So keep that in mind. If you get the wrong birth control, that's what I meant.
Yeah. And so, look, I've been an enormous fan of birth control pills, of course. I think it changed society, I think, for the better. It liberated people in a lot of ways. That's part of the reason why some conservatives still hate it to this day. They didn't want people liberated. So it's an enormous upside in the pill. But, logically speaking, after I read the story, I thought, well, anytime you're taking something for a long period of time that is not natural to your body and it's playing with your hormones, of course it could have consequences.
Yeah, well, it could have consequences.
It could not.
I mean, this is a limited study, and what's clear is that we should be spending a lot of money to study this more. Yeah. But, we do stuff all the time that affects our natural brain chemistry, and much of it is incredibly helpful. I mean, you guys are for the legalization of weed. That affects your brain chemistry.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool, though, man. And now, by the way, the birth control pill is also enormously cool, right? In its effects, as we described here. But you got to be careful, but let's let it play out. In fact, they say here we need to do more studies to find out what behaviors might be changed. But the study gives us some targets to start with. And I think the first place to look is at the effect of birth control pills on regulating emotions. So it's just the beginning. Don't panic yet, but it is interesting note. And another interesting note is that I said heck in the middle of the story and no one commented.
I didn't even notice it.
What did you say heck about?
Yeah, I said something like I don't know, but it was. And then I was like, why did I just say heck?
You censored yourself instead of saying hell?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the first time I've ever said heck on the show.
Like give them heck.
Something like that. Yeah, well, that's a heck of a story.
Has anyone ever said give them heck?
Yeah.
Nobody cool.
Nobody you want to hang out with.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, I didn't say heck of a story. That is a thing that's acceptable to say. Right. Anyway, you'll have to, if you remember, rewind the tape, see how I said it, because it's really important.
Watch the whole show again. Yeah.
All right, next.
All right. New census data indicates that women are either not having kids or they're waiting extremely. What is wrong with me today? It's already the weekend. I can't formulate a sentence. All right.
Let's finish strong. Let's do this.
All right.
You're doing a heck of a job.
Oh, yeah. What the heck is wrong with you?
I don't know. All right. New census data. Jeez. New census data indicates that women are waiting much longer to have kids, or they're deciding not to have children at all. Let me tell you what the numbers are. In 2014, about 47.6% of women between the ages of 15 and 44 had never had children, up from 46.5% in 2012. And I remember in 2012, conservatives were losing their minds because they're like, oh my God, look at these numbers. Women aren't having kids. We got to do something about it. Now, this pattern...
Might want to have sex with
Now, this pattern is particularly pronounced for women between 25 and 29. 49.6, almost 50% of women in that age group don't have kids. But there's a little twisty twist in this story.
Here comes the twist.
It's not that all these women don't want to have kids, it's just that they're postponing it, okay? Postponing it. So 28.9% of women ages 30 to 34 are child-free. So that number dips.
Yeah, so the great percentage do have.
So if you're 34, 35 years old and you haven't had a kid, this story is telling you what we all knew. There's something wrong with you. You either don't have the capacity to love. That's probably it.
Okay. So this is the most, in some ways, the obvious story I've ever seen because we've seen it in our own lives where people have careers. And they mainly talk about careers, and there's talk of the 2008 recession. I don't think that had that big a difference.
I think it did. I'll tell you why.
Really?
Yeah, you know why?
Jump in, why?
Because the 2008 recession had the biggest impact on jobs for millennials, right? And definitely jobs for minorities as well. So if you look at millennials, it's starting to get a little better, but for a really long time, they were either unemployed or underemployed. And so that makes you postpone a lot of things in your life, including marriage, having children, buying a home.
Yeah, those are really good points. Not buying it.
Okay.
Because
this is the guy who doesn't even believe that underemployment is an issue, but nonetheless, continue.
Anyway, no, because I think it's such a macro trend. I think you're right about the micro trend within that 2008 bracket, and it was a number of years, but it's a trend that's been going on for a long, long time. And yes, part of it is economic situation, but I think part of it is people are enjoying their lives a little more, and they're saying, hey, you know what, I want to have fun in my 20s, and then get married, or even if you're married, travel a lot more, etc. And then I got time to have kids in my 30s. Yeah, well, whereas the mindset before was, no, you got to pop them out right away. I mean, you got to remember, 50 years in this ago in this country was get married as soon as possible, 18, 20 years old. Go. You have kids, 21, 24, etc. Like now, that mindset is completely changed.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, and there's more women are working. They're making money. They're more likely to have genuine opportunity where they're working to move up. Their careers are likely to be more satisfying. So I think all of that, and also we're seeing more and more people not getting married and living together before they're getting married, and whatever. We're growing up as a society and living long. Like the idea that you still had in your head, if you were going to be dead at 70, then you should start cranking out the kids. But if you're going to live to be 95 years old, you can
wait a little longer.
You can wait a little longer.
There's an interesting strategy that's being utilized by some people I know, and I'm wondering whether or not they're playing it right. So they have the mentality of, let me just pop them out now and get them out of the way, and then I can enjoy my life.
Yeah, they agree to disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, I'm waiting as long as I possibly can, and then, when my friends are just, enjoying their lives, their kids are in college, yeah, I'm going to be like, oh my God, my 5-year-old, I want to kill myself.
I know, but they're going to be 58. So, you're much better off enjoying your life when you're 27 than when you're 47.
Yeah, except that's not true because, first of all, fuck you.
I'm right there with you, brother.
I remember when I was 47. I don't know. I don't think that's true. I mean, surveys continually show that people are happiest at 55 to 59.
That's true. We did that story yesterday. Yeah. No, I don't mean it overall in your life. I'm just saying in regards to having kids or not having kids, being single or not being single, you're more likely to be single and doing those kind of things when you're younger, right? But you don't get to relive those when you're a married person at 47 or 57.
No, but
you see what I'm saying?
But to Anna's point, if you're 57 and have a 13-year-old, then you might not be able to enjoy 57 the way other people have. I would argue that, and since I'm about to live it, when I'll be 60 and have a 14-year-old on my 60th birthday, and who knows, maybe I'll have another kid too. I think it's going to probably be great. The other couple, the other people are going to be home, and they'll probably miss their kids. And my kids.
And then you get to rub it in their face. I still got my kids. What now?
Yeah.
And I had all the sex when I was younger.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right.
I got a new 28-year-old wife, and I'm going to have a kid. What?
Say that out loud.
No.
It's just playing. Okay, and to Anna's point, last point on this is that about 200 years ago, on average, we lived 30 years less.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Amazing, right? So, yeah, you had to have your kids by 21 because there was some chance you were already dead, right? Like, you're on the, you could die at any moment, right?
Yeah, you're 51 years old, you get the flu, you're like,
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it was a whole different world. I know we're a little past, but I love this last story.
You do?
I do. I find it super interesting. So we started, of course, as always, a little late, so we're going to do one last story for you guys.
All right, let's do it. John Hancock is a life insurance company that's trying to find unconventional ways to save you money. So how are they going to do it? Well, when it comes to life insurance, the healthier you are, the lower your premiums will be. So they have this novel idea of giving you something known as a Fitbit and monitoring your physical activity. And based on how much physical activity you get, they could actually give you discounts. So once you sign up, John Hancock sends you a Fitbit monitor as one way to track your fitness. You earn vitality points for your activities. As you accumulate points, your status rises from bronze to silver to gold to platinum. The higher your status, the more you save each year on your life insurance premiums. The points are also used for benefits at stores like REI and Whole Foods, as well as hotel chains like Hyatt. Now, while this all sounds great, there are privacy concerns as well, because now you have a private company which is teamed up with Vitality, another company, to keep track of your physical activity, what you're doing on a day-by-day basis. Are you active enough? Do you really want to share that information? And even though they claim they're not going to share it with a third party or sell it to a third party, are you sure that you believe them? Lots of privacy concerns here.
Yeah. Do they send you text messages if you haven't gone to the gym in a week and like, hey, fat ass, let's go up and at 'em, right? I am super split on this story.
Huh?
I am. And so I like the positive reinforcement. I like, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you $5 off your thing if you go to the gym every couple of weeks, right? I'm going to give you $10 off if you go more frequently. I don't like it when it goes in reverse. I think I have the right to be a fat ass, okay? And I don't like when life insurance companies or health insurance companies start monitoring me and figuring out if I ate too many Cheetos and didn't go to the gym enough. If they want to give me credit for going to the gym, and I know it's hard to separate those two things, right? They wind up becoming the same thing oftentimes, right? But if you could effectively separate them out and you want to give credit to people who are going to the gym, you're a life insurance company, I think there's a lot of logic in that.
That's just marketing. That's just phrasing it differently. Like our baseline is you pay $2,000 a year, and if you go to the gym, you can knock it down to $1,700 a year.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you don't go to the gym, we're taking you from $1,700 to $2,000. So,
yeah, that's the problem, and that's why in the end I think I'm going to vote against it. So, look, you could save a lot of money. Let me read this from John Hancock Financial. They said, for example, a 45-year-old couple of average health buying protection UL with Vitality life insurance policies of $500,000 each could potentially save more than $25,000 on their premiums by the time they reach 85, with additional savings if they live longer, assuming they reach gold status in all years.
So, I mean, that's like, just to point out, that they're maxing out on that, and they're saving $700.
Yeah. So that's one way of looking at it. Now, the other way of looking at it, as Ben said earlier, which is that if you don't do this, then all of a sudden they're charging you an extra $25,000, right? Because you didn't live the right way, right?
Yeah. So let me jump in on that. I'm actually concerned that this is going to impact the poor more than anyone. Because if you're poor and you're having a hard time making ends meet, you're working several minimum wage jobs, for instance, you don't have the same luxury of being able to go to a gym or find time in your busy schedule to go do these things. And so if they're knocking off percentages from some people's premiums, they're going to have to make up that money somewhere else. And so I think they are going to increase the premiums for those who aren't as physically active. I mean, they already do that without the Fitbit as it is. So I hate this whole tracking method. I like the positive incentives, but here's the thing. How about just have the positive incentives for those who are healthy, right? Like, you already know when people are healthy, and if you know you're going to get...
But it's really the same thing. I mean, it's just, ultimately, if you're healthy, however you're going to healthy, they're going to cut you a break. And so,
I'm going to rule against it.
Yeah, I think ultimately you're going to rule against which?
Against doing this kind of incentive system and tracking. I'll tell you what. Look, so believe it or not, I actually go to the gym fairly often. I exercise fairly often. I don't look it, but I do, right? And so I would win in this paradigm, right? And so I should be in favor of it, but I'm not, and so that means that if you don't have this and you're not tracking it, well, everybody's gonna pay the same, regardless of whether they exercise or not. And so if you can't differentiate, that means you're going to charge me a little bit more than you would have under this system, where you would be able to tell, hey, Cenk exercises, so we're going to charge him less. So, but I'm saying I'm willing to pay more and have us all pay the same, right, based on other factors like age, of course, like for life insurance, right? So that's logical.
Because you're just deliberately asking the insurance company not to get information they can have.
Yes, because I'm stressed out by the monitoring, right? So here's another context. Progressive is offering for car insurance mileage-based tracking device called Snapshot. You can take 30% off your premium, so I guess would really incentivize to do it. But then they monitor how safe you drive, including your speed. Okay, how many miles, etc.
It would increase my premium.
Yeah, no, but then that's the thing. Then they're inside our car, they're inside our gym, they're inside our house. They're monitoring us at all times. You didn't exercise enough. You drove a little too fast. You did this wrong. You did this wrong. Get off my ass. Get off my ass, right? Let me live life a little bit. Let me have one too many drinks one day. Let me watch a movie instead of exercising without you Fitbitting me and snapshotting me at all times.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? I'm willing to pay more. Just get off my ass.
I mean, so first of all, I don't care. Like they get to run the company, they get to try these things. These are fairly innovative. You don't like it, go to a different life insurance company. I'm sure you don't have to get the monitoring. No one would require the monitoring.
No, it's not required.
If you don't do the monitoring, you pay a higher premium. That's what you said. Then you're in the group of people who are afraid. So
I'm a liberal. I'm going to shut them down.
They get to do it. It seems the driving I'm bothered by, but getting people to be healthy is a worthy goal. And people who are well off work really hard too. I don't know that there's a real distinction between rich and poor and how hard you work. So some people who can't get to the gym are going to get hurt. Those people could be well-to-do stock traders who bust their ass all the time, as much as it could be poor people earning tough. So if you want to join it, join it. It seems like a useful innovation. I don't like the car part. And I get the overall. You can get off my ass. I mean, believe me, we did a whole old school. Like, don't tell me what to do. You're not my mother. I would say.
So why don't you tell Progressive and John Hancock? Hey, John Hancock, you're not my mother.
Hey, John Hancock, I know where the napkins are. Okay.
By the way, Hancock. I had to do it. All right, we love you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.